Welcome to this morning on Asake podcast, your daily dose of insightful conversation on current affairs, politics, and social issues. Please share and also follow us on social media at Site ZW. Now, stay tuned to today's episode.
A very good morning to you guys. Welcome to the Monday edition of This Morning on Osaka. My name is Brighton. It's nice to be back again after the weekend, man. I thought it happened over the weekend. Highlanders won against the Dynamos, Spain won against England, the Trump shooting. A lot happened over the weekend. There were Kukuraundi hearings launched in Bulawayo.
Good morning, guys. Welcome to This Morning on Asake. My name is Nonhlanhla Mabiwa. We talk about the Auditor General's report. I think this one topped the trends, Brighton.
And our guest this morning is Bridget Mambondian and friends. They're coming here as young people who have wrote a letter to the Auditor General demanding the release of this report, and it was released. And don't want to hear from them in terms of coming up with that letter, what pushed them to go and write the letter to the Auditor General. And also look at the findings of that report, man. So shocking findings. I want to look at that. Yeah, good morning to you, Bridget, this morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you.
Maybe talk to us more about the letter that you guys wrote as young people in Zimbabwe. Wrote about the letter addressing to the Auditor General, demand the release of that report. Speak to us more about that.
Okay, thank you. So we know that as per the Zimbabwean laws, we expect that the Auditor General report is supposed to be released every year on the 30th of June. And as for this year, like any other year, the way they do it, they delayed in releasing the report, and it came weeks later after 30 June. So us as young people, we decided that we were actually going to ask for the letter, since it is in accordance with the law and our right to access information. So we wrote the letter to the Auditor General demanding the release of the report, which then came afterwards. But the whole idea behind it is that it is from this report that we are then able to hold our government accountable. You actually see that from this report, it's where you're going to get, the financial management, you're going to get the chief director's finance reports from every sector within our government. And so the report comes in three parts, which is like from the parastatals, the local authorities, and then the state-owned enterprise. So the whole idea behind it is to ensure that these public funds are then held in a proper manner. We are ensuring that there's the government itself is transparent and it's held accountable for all the finances that are coming out. And if you are to look at the document, you actually realize that Zimbabwe is really becoming a crime scene in terms of how public funds are being handled. In terms of, you realize that the money that was initially budgeted for and the one that is used, there's a huge difference between the two. And that's when we are coming in as young people to say that we demand the government to be accountable, to report to us as pertaining to our public funds, how they are being used and how they are being misused. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Bridget, for that. So now that you have the report, what are you working on at the moment?
Okay, so now that we have the report and it's being tabled at the Parliament, it is also our role now to make sure that the public, the citizens, are aware of the findings of the Auditor General. They are aware of what has been happening. And after that, we are also going to put an effort to ensure that we do not end at ensuring that the government, the public are aware, but we'll also take a step further to ensure that the proper action is taken, be it legal action or be it other investigations into these different sectors of the government, to hold them accountable of the use of the finance.
In the previous years, we have seen recommendations coming from the Auditor General report to say this was bought, never delivered, and nothing has been done in terms of those recommendations. Are we going to see anything being done in terms of recommendations? Or it's just vibe? Let's go to Munashe Masiwa there. Good morning to you, Munashe.
Thank you very much, my brother. So, as young people, we have realized that there are two fundamental questions in our country. That is the national question. Number one, the issue of inequality. Number two, the issue of accountability. The citizens at large are complaining about inequality, say that we are not getting access to education, getting access to health, getting access to sanitary, getting access to food. So many people in Zimbabwe are living far, far below the poverty atom line. And the number two question of the people of Zimbabwe are saying that we should hold the government to account. We should hold those in public office to account. Why is it that when someone gets into politics, he suddenly becomes pregnant? Why? Because they are looting, filling their bellies with the money that they are taking from the coffers of the state. So we have said, as the young people, we should try by all means to hold the government to account. And our first duty was to make sure that, number one, we raise awareness as far as the Auditor General report is concerned. Number two, we hold the government to account to what has been highlighted by the Auditor General. So this is the work that we've been doing, but the overall idea is not to react to corruption, but we want to create a sense, we want to set an agenda to fight corruption as it is. We want the citizens of Zimbabwe, especially the youth, others they can call it the Gen Z from 2000 and so forth, to make sure that they understand all these things, to make sure that they are at the forefront of making sure that we fight corruption. We should be the last line of defense as far as this is concerned, because our future is the one that is being jeopardized.
Well, thank you so much, Munashe, for that. Now, maybe speak to us about the channels that you're going to use to seek out accountability, to make sure that there's action that is taken.
As young people, we've realized that there is a need for us to create agency and agents as far as the citizens are concerned, to make sure that the citizens, they understand that they can be the catalyst and agents of change. Because for any change to happen, the citizens should be informed. For any change to happen, the citizens should lead that kind of revolution. Yes, we can talk of litigation, we can talk of so many things as far as holding the government to account is concerned. But the greatest thing that we can achieve through the people is through people power. So for this to happen, number one, there should be the need and the essentiality for us to make sure that the citizens know where their money is going. The citizens know that their country is being looted, hook, line, and sinker. So for this to happen, let us try by all means to raise awareness. That's why we are raising awareness as a first point of action for us. But the exit point is to make sure that we conscientize the citizens. The citizens stand up and be counted. The citizens progressively start thinking about what happened in Kenya, progressively start thinking about what they can do to be on ground, to be those who are on the forefront, demonstrating against all this, because that is the only language these people understand. And coming to the other issues that we can try by all means to use as far as our entry point is concerned is the issue of litigation. Let us exhaust all the available means as far as peaceful means are concerned. Let us go to court. So as young people, we are looking into the issues that we can take one or two and use the narrative and the entry point of litigation to try by all means to register our displeasure in making sure that we hold the government to account. For example, at Zimstead's, a car just disappeared at a garage. How on earth can a government entity say that to the Auditor General? You're parking your car outside, it just disappeared. Where did it go? You see that some of these issues are ridiculous, and some of the issues will realize that other ministries will say that the person who had the passwords, who was the super user of a certain system, died with all the passwords. So they had no access to the system, and they ended up, recording about 7 billion RTGS on an Excel sheet with no security features, without showing how the expenditure is being categorized to say we use this much for this. So realize that the issues, they go beyond, looting. They go beyond and above incompetence. What is just needed is a group of new leaders who can be able to effectively change the narrative, effectively change the system, and have effective ways of governance.
Good morning, Twitter Tender.
Good morning, how are you? So I think the Auditor General report is also yet another reminder again of how our resources are being plundered and mismanaged by heretics and people who masquerade as leaders within the government offices. It is also an additional to some other, and in many cases that we have seen the issue of tenders where the public money is being exploited by funny characters, the likes of Whitney Chivayo and his accomplices in the corruption and criminal industry. So I think as a people and as a young people, we have seen what is at stake. We have seen how much we have lost. And it has been always like that these things have been always highlighted every year in, year out. But there was no thorough follow through. You know, Zimbabweans, we are too generous. We are too generous. We forget things quickly. We don't take affirmative action towards to hold our leaders into account. So I think as a young people, and as every concerned Zimbabwean who is concerned, who knows that this man which was misappropriated and which was stolen and looted is our money. We are the ones who pay the taxes. So we should therefore take a proper action in making sure that this year at least we resolve some of the cases. We might not be able to resolve all of them, but at least if we can resolve most of these cases, so that these people within the government can actually know that no, there's something which can be done against us. So maybe through a civil means, through the courts, and if that doesn't give us the desired results, maybe there are other constitutional means which can be pursued in making sure that accountability has been shown. But also I think we have been also neglecting our duty as the citizens and saying no, the people who are in parliament are not doing enough. These people in parliament are not accounting leaders. So I think it's time now that we say, no, it's fine. The parliament has failed. Was if you see the parliament itself, there are so many cases where some of the people are misusing the CDF funding, which is literally, according to them, it's their personal money to chew. So if we expect those people who cannot be responsible with the funds meant for the development of their community, and then expect the same caliber of people to take the government into account in which they have been in bed with that same government, we will be dishonest with ourselves, and that will be delusional. So I think it's time now, as a young people and as a nation, that we take these matters into our hands and demand accountability now, and we must demand this accountability as soon as possible, so that at least a country and a government which is accountable to its young people and to its citizens guarantees a better future for its young people.
Asha, what can you expect from you guys as young people working on this report to bring about accountability in this coming few weeks?
So as young people, we've realized that change can be effected through social media. You see in Kenya, it's an event that has inspired us as the young people of Zimbabwe. You saw the hashtag Reject Finance Bill. So for us, this was just an introduction and an entry point for us in terms of holding consistently the government to account. Like what I said before, the agenda is not to react to corruption, but the agenda is to set a notion of saying that citizens, let us all fight corruption head on. Let us all as citizens join hands and fight corruption. But for this to happen, it requires a conscientized society. And how do you conscientize the society? You know, the Auditor General report is 150 something, some 200 and something pages. What we can do as young people, let us use social media, infographics to make sure that people, they are well informed. Just 10 seconds of your time, you just see the infographic, you see the things that are happening. So these are the things that we'll be doing.
Well, that brings us to the end of the show.
For myself, Nonhlanhla Mapigwa,
And Brighton Ngube, it's bye for now.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode. For feedback, you can contact us on 263-777-470017. Don't forget to follow and like our social media pages.